Well, good afternoon, everybody. I know we just kind of finished lunch, and I don't know about the rest of you, but after 3 days of being here, it's not my stomach that's full, it's my brain that is full. And it feels like the luggage that I was packing when I was coming back from Italy. I don't think I can fit one more thing in, but that's actually a good problem, and I'd like to thank everybody for filling my brain with great ideas and new information. I have 3 things that I want to contribute to today's conversation about entrepreneurship. First, I want to offer a perspective on how to look at the entrepreneur market. The second thing is I want to talk about how Intuit's customer-driven innovation may be helpful to the work that you all do. And then third, I want to add a tiny little twist on the great innovation that CFED introduced to this world, and that's about tax time and small business. But before I get to those points, I want to give you just a little bit of background on Intuit. Intuit's mission is to help people improve their financial lives so profoundly that they cannot go back to the old way of doing things. And when Andrea saw that, she said, well, that should be CFED's mission, or that sounds like CFED's mission. And I thought that was probably one of the nicest compliments we could have gotten as a company. Well, given our mission and the products that we make, you can imagine how passionate Intuit is about entrepreneurship. In fact, I don't know if you all know this, but Intuit was founded on entrepreneurship.
So they can see you.
Oh, okay, thank you. I hate looking back there and seeing that big picture. Anyways, so we were started by an entrepreneur. Scott Cook, our founder, sat at his kitchen table and heard his wife curse as she was paying the bills, and she was trying to balance the family checkbook. And so her problem became Scott's motivation, and his solution was Quicken. And then his unbridled entrepreneurship became Intuit, a company whose products and services are now used by more than 8 million small businesses and more than 30 million consumers. So as a representative of a company that is living proof of the power of entrepreneurship, here's the first point I want to make, and that's that small business entrepreneurs are not one size fits all. And it's at our peril and their peril if we deliver products and services as if they were. Intuit divides the small business market into 3 segments, and those segments are based on their mindsets and their pain points. And think of it like a pyramid. The top of the pyramid is what we call the lower mid-market, roughly about 600,000 businesses where delegation becomes more formal. They have departments, and where workflows between the teams become critical. And that's actually my sister and brother-in-law who have an auto repair business in Louisville, Kentucky. Their mindset is retirement, and their focus is on grooming my nephew, or actually I think he's grooming them, so he can take over the business. The middle of the pyramid is made up of Main Street businesses, about 3.2 million businesses, where the owners become focused on growth. And they're beginning to realize that they need to delegate to employees to achieve that growth. And we have one story. Our QuickBooks team ran into a man who illustrates this point. He owned a construction company, and he was struggling to pay his bills, and his main pain point was cash flow. And that became real clear to him when he was in process of cleaning out his truck to sell it so he could pay that bills. Well, what happened was while he was cleaning the truck, he reached under the front seat of his truck, and he found a whole bunch of checks that customers had written to him. That was how he was managing his cash. The base of the pyramid is made up of 22 million personal businesses. Typically, these are the sole proprietors operating out of their home, where their lives between being a consumer and a small business are quite blurred. Now, in my mind, these are the men and women each of us meet at the tax assistance events every year. They come in with folders and paper bags full of check stubs and receipts and haven't a clue what to do with them. Well, my sister and brother-in-law, Murphy and John, and the man whose truck doubles as a wallet are frankly so much easier to help around asset building because they know they're a small business. The group we all need to do a better job of relating to are those 22 million people who don't think of themselves as entrepreneurs. They just think of themselves as moms, dads, or just anybody trying to make ends meet, or just do something that they love. And that brings me to my second point, customer-driven innovation. As I mentioned, Intuit started because of a consumer pain point. From the very first time Scott heard his wife complain, understanding the customer, seeing the world from her eyes, not ours, has driven what Intuit does and has fueled our growth. We've learned that classic market research can be helpful, but it won't get us to the keen insights that solves people's problems or changes their behavior. We get to that by tapping into the way they're already doing things. And we do that through a process called Follow Me Homes. Now that term gets people a little nervous. They think we're stalkers, but we're not stalkers. We invite people, they ask us, and we actually go into their homes, into their garages, in their basement, and to their kitchen tables, and just observe how they go about their day, how they work. And so when we see a question mark appear over their head, or their brow wrinkles, or they curse, like Scott's wife, that's when we start digging. That's when we find all the good stuff. And here's a great example of that. A few years ago, our team did a Follow Me Home with a mom who had a small home-owned business. And we saw how she organized her finances. She had 2 shoe boxes, and what you would refer to as accounts payable and accounts receivable. But she labeled them the way she thought of them, money in, money out. But here's a really great part of the story. Those 2 boxes were lined up perfectly besides the cat litter box. And I think, oh my God, that story could be so much better if the money in section was by the cat food bowl and the money out was by the cat litter box. But that's just how my mind thinks. I apologize. Anyways, the real moral to that story is that today, if you look at our entry-level QuickBooks products, you'll find that we have adopted this woman's labeling. Money in, and that's because money in, money out, that's how people think about money. Sans a cat litter. So Follow Me Homes are the responsibility of all Intuit staff who work on any product or service. And every year, 10,000 employee hours are dedicated to Follow Me Homes, and our CEO, Brad Smith, is accountable for about 60 hours of those each year himself. Intuit has no pride of authorship with the Follow Me Home methodology. In fact, we would love all of you to adopt it in the work that you do. And if you want to find out other ways that we learn from and engage with entrepreneurs, spend a few hours on our Intuit online communities, and visit our Intuit Labs at intuitlabs.com, and you can watch and you can contribute to how we're building new products and services for small businesses and consumers to improve their financial lives. So this customer-centric methodology and mindset works, as we said, because this is not a one-size-fits-all business. As one colleague of mine likes to say, small businesses are as unique as snowflakes. And this brings me to my final point. The path to success for every entrepreneur is rooted in their active engagement in their own success, and never is that more important than at tax time. We are so thrilled that the work that CFED has done, NCTC, IRS, and so many others of you in this room are doing around the self-employment tax initiative. And we just ask that you remember one thing. Tax time is only as good for the self-employed as their active engagement in the tax preparation process. We all know, Senator Wyden just said it, the months between January and April 15th are the singular moment every year when citizens look at their finance and they get clarity about money in, money out. But for those 22 million entrepreneurs, it's a singular moment for them to develop, or to see they need to develop, good habits as business people. So as we all collectively work to increase the success rate of sole proprietors and entrepreneurs, let us focus at least some of our time and energies on how to get these 22 million people to have more control over the piece of paper and pencil, to get more control over the keyboard when they, or a volunteer at a VitaSite, or a professional prepares and files their Schedule C, the easy one or the full-blown one. Full engagement, rolling up your sleeves, Aspen bottle at the side, is a teachable moment that cannot be reclaimed anywhere else. So my hero, Oprah, closes her magazine each month with the page, What I Know for Sure. And in my career, I spent 1.5 years with a government agency. I spent 20 years in the not-for-profit sector, and now I'm on my 9th year in the private sector. And here's what I know for absolute sure. Organizations, no matter what sector, do best when they do what they know best, and then they partner with others to make an even bigger impact. I am, on a personal note, I am so proud that in business and in philanthropy, my company excels at doing what we do best and then partnering with others to make it work for consumers at all ends of the economic spectrum. And looking out at the audience that I've seen over the past 3 days, I see people who have made our work, Intuit's work, our partnership, our participation in the IRS and 21 state free file programs better. Jackie Lynn Coleman from NCTC, Eric Sato from the Louisville Asset Building Coalition, Carter Elliott and Cicely Garrett from the Atlanta Food Bank. I've also seen Mary DuPont. For you all who know her, I've actually seen her more in the restaurant across the way. But Mary is an example of someone who has taken what we have done with Maria Shriver's We Connect campaign and help us make that even better. And then, of course, there's Jean Severns and there's Laura Ars, who brought the self-employment tax initiative to us and then challenged us to to think of a new way. And then also there is Janet Page from the Brooklyn Small Business Development Center and Megan Van Hart from the Food Bank for New York City, who are right now working with us to combine our tax and our small business philanthropy so we can help sole proprietors prepare for tax time and then use our Free File Alliance product offering, TurboTax Freedom Edition, to prepare their federal, state, and Schedule C tax forms for free. So Jackie Lynn, Jean, and all the people I just mentioned make my brain, and to be honest, my heart, full every day of the year, and it's an honor to partner with them and all of you and being on this road together. Thank you for listening, and safe travels home.